Welcome to the global phenomenon, Surviving the Survivor. If you have a mom, you'll love our podcasts. Here are your hosts, former Fox News political correspondent Joel Waldman and his mom, Carmela, a licensed marriage therapist and Holocaust survivor.
All right, Carm, time for another episode of Surviving the Survivor. For a moment yesterday, I thought I had the Delta variant. I was sneezing, I was coughing, like sneezing in
Little hypochondriac.
Sneezing in 2021 is like being a leper, I guess, in the 1700s or whenever the lepers lived. Because
the minute I told him to go have himself tested, he
sneezed,
got better because he's too lazy to go.
I sneezed into my arm and people were taking cover like there was bombs dropping. But Carm, once again on the drive over here, you said something interesting. I actually turned 52 years old this week, and you said to me,
no, you didn't yet.
I will. My point is this. I own a property and I have a tenant, and the tenant wants to stay for an additional 6 months but can't afford to pay enough. And you started, Joel, if you want to be a businessman, are you ever going to be a businessman? Do you want to take this seriously? Be more like your friend Michael Littman, the business.
My God,
That's right, Littman. You cheap bastard. But anyway,
I am never speaking
I'm 52. If I was going to be a businessman,
Joel,
today we're interviewing Dr. Fischer, one of the, it's Joel, like saying Band-Aid instead of adhesive tape. He's a huge product guy based out of Israel. And he started his business 70 years ago. He's 85.
No,
like
he didn't
60 years ago.
50 years ago.
I'm 52. What kind of businessman am I going to become? I barely can get a job in local news.
You want to know, Joel? I tell you one thing. First of all, you always do this. You act like a billionaire, and you are losing money on the apartment. You are between the condo fee, the taxes, and the mortgage on the apartment. You lose money on it.
Mike Littman should really be if a milkshake was $3, I had to give Littman $1.51.
No. I remember when you worked one summer as a child for Littman.
Yeah.
As a young,
I love that we're calling Littman out. Yeah,
student, and he owned the Carvel store.
Littman asked me to cut him a check for something I did recently. I saved 1 penny, and he won't leave me alone about it.
Wait 1 second. Let me tell you that the little kids came in and they had enough money for one scoop. You would put in 2 scoops.
And Littman would freak out.
And Littman would say, that's not the way to run a business. Then he went to Columbia for an MBA.
Well, that's why Littman makes money stealing from people with jewelry, and I don't.
You know what? You better edit all this out because Littman will come after us.
We will be right back with the main schmooze with a very famous person, Dr. Eli Fischer. It's like saying Band-Aid instead of adhesive tape. He runs the show in Israel, exports to 30 products to 30 countries, has 1,000 employees, and he has a hell of a lot more money than Littman or any of you.
No, don't do that. You don't know that.
Be right back with the main schmooze.
Do you want to help my son? His company, Content Partners Media, specializes in brand video and content creation for innovative companies and others. Please go to www.contentpartnersmedia.com and hire him. I repeat, please go to www.contentpartnersmedia.com.
Welcome back to Surviving the Survivor. It's time now for the main schmooze.
Carm, a first for us today. We have an international guest. We've never had this before. And not only an international guest, but a guest whose product is ubiquitous with his name, very, very well known, Dr. Eli Fischer. Dr. Fischer, hello to you. How are you?
Hi. Okay. Thank you for talking to me.
Our pleasure. Let me tell the audience a little bit about you. So, Dr. Eli Fischer was born in Carlsbad, Czechoslovakia, and came to Palestine, what was then Palestine, now Israel, with his family at the age of 3. He earned his master's degree cum laude at the age of 23, and then accepted for doctoral studies at Harvard University, a school that you may have heard of. Later, after receiving a Doctor of Pharmacy degree from the University of California, Dr. Fischer decided to return to Israel, where he subsequently established an innovative plant for producing new types of medications under the name of What Else? Dr. Fischer Inc. Today, as I mentioned, a very well-known brand name in Israel and around the world. Dr. Fischer is a father to 3 beautiful daughters, Daphna, Sigal, Nurit. He is a scientist, an industrialist, and also a household name. Dr. Fischer, let's start with something interesting. You actually, and then we'll get back to your business, but you wrote a book recently. Tell us about the book, what it is, and how you're inspired to write this.
This is the book.
There it is. From the rice fields to the Holy Land.
Right. And this is about a Philippine woman, the life of a Philippine woman, Filipina, who from her birth in a rice field, actually, in a house in a rice field that her father cultivated, and her life in the Philippines until she immigrated to Israel because of economic reasons, of course, to support her 2 children to graduate from the university, and also to supply them food and things like that. And she's in Israel already close to 20 years. She worked for a few families. Now she lives with me. She's my personal assistant. And she became half Israeli. And I wrote about, this book is her biography. She told me exactly what it was, and I wrote it. But she described it.
But this is like from one immigrant to another immigrant, right? And I'm the 3rd immigrant. Yeah, you were.
Yeah, but you know, I was 3 years old.
Yeah.
I'm now 85 years old. I was 3 years old when my parents arrived in Israel, and with me, of course. So I grew up in Israel. I never felt that I am an immigrant, and I didn't suffer as working for a family or taking care of old people or things like this. Never. I'm Israeli from the age of 3. I don't know anything else. I lived all my life in Tel Aviv. Only during the studies, I studied in Jerusalem. I graduated. I got my master's degree in biochemistry and microbiology in the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. Then I was in Harvard. I was a teaching fellow in biochemistry. I worked with Professor George Wald, who received afterwards the Nobel Prize he found a connection between vitamin A and night blindness. Then I moved to University of California, San Francisco, and I got my doctorate in pharmacy, and I developed an eye medicine against glaucoma, which is pressure within the eye. And then as you said, I returned to Israel. I was offered to stay in the university, but I decided that I don't feel good out of Tel Aviv, like a fish out of water.
I can understand.
I
can understand.
You're a very successful businessman. You're 85 years old. You could be out playing golf. How come you chose to write a book about your personal assistant?
He also goes into work. You go to the office, right?
Yes, I go to the office.
He goes to the office.
I go swimming 1 kilometer every day. I walk about 1 hour every day. And our company is close to 1,000 workers, one of the biggest pharmaceutical and cosmetic company in Israel. And my 2 daughters, I have 3 daughters, but 2 of them are now the chairpersons of the company. And I disturb them from time to time, but I let them do the job because they are doing it better than what I did.
Are they single? Maybe I can get rid of my wife.
They are not single. They are married, and I have 11 grandchildren.
No, but so tell me, I mean, again, you have so much going on. What inspired you to write this book? Why take the time to write a book about your personal assistant? It should be the other way around. You think the personal assistant would write the book about Dr. Fischer?
No, I wrote a book about my autobiography. This is it. About 15 years ago, I wrote it. I wrote it.
The man behind the logo. Yeah.
But I don't know, Corona, and I'm not so busy in the factory, and I had free time, and I read a book, an American book called Maid, M-A-I-D, written by someone who was working with a single mother with a baby who worked to support herself, and it became a bestseller. So I read it, and she was working, cleaning houses, and working for different families. And it was very interesting, a very simple one.
That was in America. In America.
America, yeah.
America,
she was around Seattle. So when I read this book, I said that the life of Lani Samson, this is the woman I wrote about, is much more interesting than this the life of the lady in America who became a bestseller. So I tried to convince her, Lani, to write a book. She didn't like it. She said, I was poor, my friends were poor, there is nothing to write about us. I said, this is exactly the reason why I'm going to write about you, because I think in the developed countries, they have to know about life of you and the other women who work as maids and as caregivers in Israel and in other countries, also in America also, because we never know exactly how their life and their difficulties were. We know them as worker, taking care of old people, doing the work that the families don't want to do, all the simple work, and people with Alzheimer, with other diseases. So I thought that we have to know, our people have to know that their life and that they are human beings like us, and they have the same feelings and so on. And we neglect it. We don't think about it usually.
I don't want to generalize. This is just anecdotes. But when I was in Israel, I used to travel a lot to Israel and stay for months and months in Israel. And in my building, which was built by Perez, Shimon Perez's brother, the Kaplan. Yes, the Kaplan.
Yes.
Yeah. So there were a lot of aging people. And I knew them, I know them. So they were telling me that they had a Filipina, a Filipina. And they said they are just unbelievable caretakers. They are really have this caring and loving and patience and very, very beautiful traits that us Westerners zooming around, we don't have it.
What inspired you most about her story? What was most inspirational?
I got to know her. I found out that she is very, very intelligent, very, very good in her relations with people. And first she worked as a maid in my house. And then I found out, I sent her to study Hebrew, to learn driving, to study all the products of my company, which are many products. And she learned everything she did. And I took her as an assistant since then, as a personal assistant, driving. I take her abroad when I go to every meetings with foreign companies. We export to 30 countries. And we have to explain the product. She knows the products. We have hundreds of products. She knows them better than me because she works in a shop belonging to our company. We have many shops. We have 50 shops that belongs to us. So she knows the details and how to use the products so much better than I do. So she's doing it. And
how's her Hebrew now? How's her Hebrew?
Very good.
Very good?
No, not very good. Good. We speak Hebrew. We speak Hebrew and English. Her English is much better than mine. When I need I don't need a dictionary. When I need looking for a spelling, I ask her, and she tells me the spelling. Her English is very, very good. And this is also important when we go abroad and we do export. And yes, it helps a lot.
Now, Dr. Fischer, you look maybe 59, 60 years old. And I know you said you swim every day, but which Dr. Fischer products do I need to take to look like you when I'm, which ones do you recommend?
First of all, you look very good and you're very young, so it's okay. But life expectancy nowadays, as you know, in the United States, it went down a little lately, but it's about
because
80 years for men.
Because of COVID.
No, before. No, it's about 80 for men and 85, close to 85 for women. In Israel also. This is more the average life expectancy. But in order, our company, my father was a medical doctor and my grandfather was a medical doctor. And I decided that the base of medicine is biochemistry, the chemistry in our body, the reaction, chemical reaction that happen in our body when you're healthy and when you're sick. So I decided to study the basics of medicine, and that's why I went to study biochemistry. But in order to, and my company, and I promised my mother when she was 80 something and she was sick, that I'm going to learn how to extend life, anti-aging. But I mean, anti-aging, it's in my definition, is not to extend life, but to prevent diseases, to treat diseases, because usually we die from diseases, not from age. Usually, the old people, we die from diseases, and there are many diseases that did not exist in the past, because people had in 1900 or so, life expectancy average was about 50. Now it's 80. So when you were 50, you didn't have Alzheimer, you didn't have cancer, you died from infections, from all kinds of diseases that we don't die from them now. So anyway, anti-aging, you have to, from the baby, here, your mother knows, she took care of you. From a baby, you start anti-aging. You give them balanced diet. You don't take them to the sun without protection. I'm saying it because we are the biggest in Israel in sun protection, over 60%.
Wow.
70%.
I think in the world.
No, in Israel. Yes. And no, so you don't take a baby near someone who smokes. You don't want him to be overweight. You make him make physical activities. So we start from babies, and this is what you have all your life. It's the way of life. It's not that you take one medicine and it's anti-aging.
That's American way of thinking. That is his American way of thinking. You can take a pill and it will solve everything.
Well, are you familiar with, there's a professor at Harvard now. He's Australian. His name is Dr. David Sinclair. He wrote a book.
No.
He wrote a book that you'd be interested in called Lifespan. And he's the leading academic on anti-aging. But what do you think in 50 or 100 years from now, how long will human beings live for? 50?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
I mean, do you think there'll come a time where humans live to 150 years?
That's what they talk about, the young generation now, that 50% of them at least will live over 100 years. But I don't know, 150. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Dr. Fischer, that means you'd have to
debate among them.
you'd have to work another 70 years, that means, Dr. Fischer.
I have no problem. You know, when people in Israel, when you have a birthday, even a baby, you say up to 120. I think the Bible, no, Moses, or up to 120. So I tell people when they tell me this, you know, in my birthday, I tell them, okay, let's not make all the planes at once. Let's go gradually. At this stage, let's make planes until 120. When we get there, we continue to make our planes for the future.
Dr. Fischer, I want to ask you a question that I think about every day. So we grew up, I lived in Israel as a little child, as you heard, in Ramat Aviv, but then we grew up in New Jersey.
No, we were there for 3 years. I have a story. I'll tell you privately what we did there for 3 years.
So we lived in Israel,
for 3 years.
But I grew up in New Jersey, and now I live and I worked all over. I was a news reporter, and now I live in Miami to be here for my aging parents because I'm a great son. But what happens in America, everyone is very materialistic, especially in Miami. They want their Lamborghinis. They want their boats. Now, you're a man who is very fortunate to be successful financially. Does money bring happiness, do you think?
I think it's better to live with money than without money. First of all, if you have money, it's better. No, but I don't come from business. You know, when I started my company, I started from research, from development, and I'm very interested up to now in product development. And I don't think that in my case, some people, yes, some people work for making money. I'm also making money. I'm not saying that we're losing money, but my interest is in developing products. And if you develop products, you know, a product, in my opinion, is a dynamic entity. It's not a static entity. Every product, even now that we are talking on the internet, and if you have your telephones, every 6 months, 1 year, they change, they develop and develop and develop. So every product that we have in our hand, we know it's already old-fashioned because someone is working on an improvement. So in our products also, my opinion, because I come from research, everything is basis for improvement. So products that we have now on the market, which are some, when I started, I developed all our products. And by the way, we specialize in eye and skin medicines, nothing else. That's what we are doing. We specialize. And I developed in the laboratory many products when I started. I started with my wife, by the way, Dvora. I didn't start alone. And also in America, when I was in Harvard and in the University of California, I did not do anything myself. I did always with some other people, either the professors or my wife or 1,000 people now that work for our company.
So take us back. What year? By the way, my mother, the reason I brought that question up is my mother said she read somewhere that someone once asked you why you don't own a yacht, and you said that you would get seasick. Is this true?
You were joking. No,
I'm really getting seasick, but this is not the reason that I don't have a yacht. No, I don't. I don't know. I'm not living like a millionaire, or I don't know what. I'm living a normal life. My daughters, 3 of them, they work, and my grandchildren also. Some of them graduated from the university already, and I don't feel. I feel that I'm very interested to develop products. Even now, I have new ideas, and I think that a leader, and if I may say, I mean, it's not. If I may say that I was a leader in my company, a leader has to have his head in the clouds, to think ahead and dream and so on. But everyone is a dreamer, but it's not enough to be a dreamer. You have to be with your feet on the ground, but very lightly, so you can move like a boxer or like a dancer, not to be stuck in the mud, because you have to change all the time. And you have to have also flexible mind. You have to be able to change your mind when conditions change. And this is very important to be able, not everyone is, if you have if you develop a product, sometimes on the way, after a year, after 2 years that you developed and you put a lot of money and time, you come to a conclusion that it's not good. It's not. It's not. You have new competition, and you have new habits of people, and you have to leave the project and abandon the project, and this is very difficult if you had the idea, for your ego and the money that you already spent in it. It's very difficult, but you have to be able to make the decision and stop and change and do other things.
Dr. Fischer, did you serve in the IDF?
Yes.
Yes.
And do you think that helped you in any way in terms of your business career?
No. No,
I believe not. It didn't need connection.
I am an individualist. I don't like to accept orders. Usually I do the opposite of what others do. Otherwise, I would be now a clerk in the post office. So in the army also, I was not very good in obeying orders and so on. But then I was after in the reserve. I became a medical officer. I was in charge of a hospital, a field hospital. But this was after I graduated from the university and in the reserve.
When you went to the Miluim.
Yeah. Well, the reason I bring it up, I think there was a well-known book, Startup Nation, where they said that one of the reasons that Israel is so small but successful entrepreneurial-wise is because in the military, in the States, there's a hierarchy, there's a command, and you don't question your command. But in Israel, everyone argues with each other in the military. The small, you think that is true?
But they also work for technical innovations.
But do you think that because the lowest ranked person in the IDF can argue with the general, that it kind of creates a free thinking society, or no?
No, I think that most people obey the officers, the bosses in the army, and the bosses in the economy, and there are very few people who do what they want or not, who think that they know more than their bosses. I had this problem, and I didn't obey. I had to leave. I worked for the biggest company in Israel, pharmaceutical company, when I came from the United States first. And I could not follow the orders and the instructions because I thought that I know better. And then I left and I started my own company. I had $5,000. And my wife and I we rented a place for $100 a month.
In Bnei Brak, I read about it.
Exactly, in Bnei Brak, in a suburb of Tel Aviv.
So I was surprised that your headquarters are in Bnei Brak.
Yeah, but we have 2 factories in the north now, in the Galilee.
Wait 1 second. Wait, everybody. Wait 1 second. Don't you want to ask Dr. Fischer to move back a drop because his head is cut off?
Yeah, Dr. Fischer, if you want to move your are you on a laptop?
No, a little bit back. If you move a little bit.
The top of your head is, there you go.
Now we see, don't go up. You went up again.
But now I don't see you.
Oh. Then do whatever was working. Carm, why do you have to interrupt the flow here?
I am very, very sorry, but I am worried that we don't see.
It's okay. Do you see us, Dr. Fischer?
No, I don't see you.
Because your head was cut off. His head was cut off.
Leave it to Carmela to ruin the flow of the podcast.
Excuse me 1 second. I'll prepare.
Joel, it's not right.
It's fine. We're seeing his face. I purposely didn't say anything this time but this time now you say something.
I think the moment
this is all recording.
What?
This is all recording.
It's
the whole world's listening to this.
They can see how we react to it. Oh, how good. Okay.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Lani, I cannot see them. It changed. Can you arrange it? I called my assistant. Now she will fix it maybe. That's why I need an assistant.
Is this the subject of the book?
Yes.
Oh, hello.
Lani Samson.
Hello.
Hello, Ronnie.
Now she.
Lani.
And you can see us now?
No. Just a minute. We'll see how we do it.
I'm gonna cry now because I messed it up. But half of your head was not in the
It's
picture.
okay, but you don't even have to see it. As long as you can.
Half the head is enough.
As
Your head, yes. Your
now.
head, half of your head.
you see us now?
Now you see me?
Yes.
Yeah, don't move.
And you
No,
see
I don't move.
and you see us?
She doesn't want to say hello to us.
No. So
Lani,
Yeah.
Riga. You don't want to say hello, Lani? No, she is very shy.
Okay,
I told
okay.
you, when I told her that I'm writing a book about her, she said, no, I don't want a book. And I wrote it in English, by the way, not Hebrew. English book, and it's published in the United States.
I checked this yesterday. I checked on Amazon. I wanted to buy the book. I'm definitely getting the book from Amazon, but both your books I'm going to get. Because I tell you what happened. They wouldn't have gotten here before we talked together.
Dr. Fischer, you know who else does not follow orders well? My mother. And I am the producer. She is just the talent. And unlike you, a man with a lot of money who's successful, who's humble and full of humility, this one already wants her own show. She wants a makeup artist. She's telling people. No, I'm not joking. No, I am not joking. So, Dr. Fischer, what year did you start this company, and what was your vision for it originally?
Yeah. By the way, I wanted to tell you, you said at the beginning that I was born in Czechoslovakia,
Wrong.
which is now the Czech Republic, of course.
Yeah.
We came to Israel on March 15, 1939, the day that Hitler entered Prague.
Wow.
We arrived in Tel Aviv port. The same day.
Ese mazal.
Wow.
So I didn't go through the Holocaust and so on. Okay, what was the question? When did I start the company?
Yeah, when did you start the company, and what was your vision? I assume that you didn't think it would be as big as it is today.
No, I didn't think so. We are in every home, by the way. You said before.
I have to interrupt again because I get very excited about this. Because I spoke with one of my granddaughters, Hannah Bela. I spoke with her in Tel Aviv today, and I said, God willing, we're going to get Dr. Fischer. He says, Dr. Fischer, the Fischer that the super pharma is full of him. I said, that Dr. Fischer. She says, I don't believe you, Grandma. She said, I don't believe that you can get him.
Okay, I started in 1965, and I didn't start. My wife and I started.
Yeah.
I want to make sure.
Yes.
I didn't do anything myself. She was with me.
Was she also a PhD, or she was just?
No. She studied literature and biblical studies, English literature and biblical studies. Then when we were in the United States, in San Francisco, she studied to become a laboratory technician. And she helped me a lot. So when we started, of course, we had $5,000 for everything, including the car, including the machines, including everything. And we started together. For 2 years, we were alone. She was the chief accountant, but there was no account. No one wanted to buy from us. But I wanted to make a research laboratory, to sell the products to the pharmaceutical companies in Israel, sell or get royalties, I don't know what, and they will manufacture and they will sell. I was not interested, not in marketing, not in selling, and not in manufacturing. I just wanted to do research, to develop medicines. And I developed, by the way, close to, I don't know, it doesn't sound good, but close to 40 eye drops. Wow. I developed myself, and many skin products also, but eye drops. I specialize in this. And so we started, the two of us. After 2 years, we took another pharmacist, another salesman, and it gradually we grew.
There has to be like in America, there's the FDA. What's the equivalent in Israel? There has to be like a regulatory.
Misrad Abreut, the health office.
So,
but they follow the FDA or the European medical equivalent to FDA.
Because when you're making your products, you can't just make them, and I mean they have to be approved, right? They have to be.
But Joel,
they have to be approved ahead of time. Before we manufacture, we have to give all the data to the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health actually is the equivalent to the FDA.
Uh-huh.
You know, the formula, the manufacturing, the tests. We do everything else, and we are controlled by them all the time. And they have to approve it. And only after they approve it, you are allowed to manufacture it.
Okay.
There was only one case where it worked differently. When we had the Yom Kippur War in 1973, you remember, maybe
I
you
was
remember
there,
this.
he was there.
Good. So, not good. But you know, we wanted to manufacture something like betadine called polydine. This is our product equivalent, iodine product.
Uh-huh.
And I imported raw materials. We import a lot of raw materials. I gave the Ministry of Health all the data, all the information, and they have time. They're not in a hurry. You know, bureaucracy is
Famous.
They have time. And the war started. And I knew that they will need it. It's very important for wounds and burn treatment. So the second day of the war, Yom Kippur War, I called the Ministry of Health and I told them, you know, you didn't give me the approval, but I'm telling you now that I'm going to manufacture it and send it to hospitals. So what they said, the head of the pharmaceutical department, who is in charge of approving, he said, after the war, we'll hang you. I said, thank you very much. I said, thank you very much. And this was the approval I got for this line of products. And
That's an Israeli story. I love it.
Yeah, and we really supplied it to the hospitals, and it helped a lot to burn people, especially in the north.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Dr. Fischer, this is not, I have a sense of humor, but I'm not joking right now. How do I inherited these crow's feet from my mother, and I have this stuff under my eyes, and I'm a TV reporter, so I have to look pretty for the camera. What do I do for this? What do you recommend?
I want to again. Your name is Carmela.
My name is Carmela.
I'm Joel. This is Carmela.
Yeah. No. I just want to tell Carmela that it's always like this: that the sons or the children accuse the parents. I know about it. I'm used to it with my 3 daughters. So
I don't believe me.
Inherited. And so
you know what? He has 3 beautiful children. He works in the local television market here in Miami because he doesn't want to travel all over the country.
I used to be a big national star, but I gave that up for my family, Dr. Fischer.
He sacrificed. So if he has crow's feet next to his eye, a little character.
I'm being serious though.
I am going to buy the night cream because I went on Amazon and checked all the Dr. Fischer. I didn't even think of checking it here. But yesterday I went on Amazon and I saw a night cream. I'm going to get it 100%.
But no, Dr. Fischer, what is the answer?
You see this?
Yes.
I don't want to make promotion. I won't, but I
No, feel free.
I care wipes, wet wipes. That's for clean. Actually, for cleaning the here. I show you.
Yeah.
For cleansing the eyelids. But it's also against dry eyes, and of course, it's one of the biggest products that we export to America, to United States. We export, by the way, many millions to the United States.
Can you write this,
and
please?
To Australia.
Can you write this down for me?
I saw it today.
Is there a cream I can use to help with this?
Cut it out.
He's
not
serious.
a cosmetician.
No, is there a cream or something to reduce wrinkles?
There is. You don't smile.
Dr. Fischer, my mother thinks she's an expert at everything. I'm talking to the world expert. She's answering. Can you not answer?
Okay.
I'm serious. Is there a cream that you recommend?
Against wrinkles?
Yes.
No. We have a line of product called Genesis. I don't remember how it is called in the United States on Amazon, because sometimes we have different trademarks.
Okay.
on our products for the United States because of many reasons. But one of them is, I can find out and let you know.
Okay. Hey,
I don't want to call Lani again, and she will tell you.
No. Lani probably knows better.
Leave it.
So, Dr. Fischer,
She knows the product because she's selling that. She's working in one of our factory shops.
So, did you ever? You said you have 1,000 employees and you export to 30 countries. Did you ever, in your wildest dreams, think it would become that big a company?
I told you I wanted to have a laboratory. I didn't want to have to manufacture at all. But then we started to manufacture one product, and I never thought about it. And we are, everyone in Israel knows our name. We are a household name with everyone, and this is a problem. They look at, I don't know. It's not very humble what I'm going to say now. People think about Dr. Fischer as a brand, not a human being.
Correct.
As a brand.
Correct.
And it disturbs me a lot. It disturbed me a lot. So many years ago, 16 years ago, I decided to write my autobiography to show in the book that first you are a human being and then you are a businessman, not the other way around.
Yes.
And I wrote it, and I wrote also some, not everything is positive about myself.
Yeah.
To show that I am a human being like everyone else, because everyone, you're Dr. Fischer, cannot be, and so things like this. And it disturbs me. I just want to be, I am a simple human being. I'm not something, It
must help with dinner reservations, though, right? You say, hi, I'm Dr. When you make dinner reservations.
No, I never say Dr. Fischer. I say Eli Fischer usually. I don't use it only in emergency when I have to achieve something that is very difficult to achieve, and some medical emergency in the family or something. Then I use it. The name Dr. Fischer, but usually I never say Dr. Fischer. I say Eli Fischer.
See, I'm very interested in people like you because I think they're, especially now with social media, I know that's not your generation, and Instagram where everyone has the perfect life, but I think everyone has this vision, especially young people, that one day I'll have millions of dollars. I'll be a famous CEO. I'll have a company. I'll have a product. And then, maybe all my problems will go away or my life will be different. I'll have my yacht. But you have all these things and you just live your life. You go swimming every day. You go to your office. You didn't retire. You live a very simple life, correct?
And he seems very happy.
Yes, and you seem happy, which is...
I live very simple life. I don't know how to live differently. Maybe it's different a little from what it was in the past. When my parents came here, it was everyone was working hard and was poor in our... if you look at it now, we were poor actually. It was very difficult. My father worked as a medical doctor, but the British were here, the English, and he didn't get a license to work, and it was very difficult. But I continue to live like I lived before. I have a bigger apartment. I have my daughters are all settled. All of them have houses around Tel Aviv somewhere. They are in houses but they continue to work. I mean, all of them work. They could sit at home and do nothing, but they work, all of them, and all of them graduated from universities. Of course, one is artist.
Is that painting behind you? Did she make the painting behind you?
No. This I have we do a lot of social activities, but we have an art collection. We call it Artist Messengers of Peace. Peace, and this is only pictures and some sculptures on the subject of peace. And I have it's more than 300 pieces, It was all around the world, and we took it to the United States also. It was in New York, in the, the gallery of the Hebrew Union College on First and Broadway. It was in Miami also. It was also in all over Europe. It was, and we made sure that at the opening there will be the Egyptian ambassador, the Jordanian ambassador, the Israeli ambassador. All of them talked in the openings of the exhibition. It was in South America also. It was in Japan. It was in many countries, and we run a art gallery in Tel Aviv, and we show there not our pictures, but we support artists, different artists. We also support. My daughters are active, but I support financially an organization for children who were taken out of broken homes, and they live in institutes. About 70, 80 institutes. They have food, they have school, they have everything. The children are okay, as far as you can be okay out of a family like this, when the father killed the mother, or someone is in a mental hospital and things like this. But the children are okay, so we support them for many years. My wife was very active there in the management.
You have a foundation in memory of your wife.
That's true. And we do a lot of social activities. We support many
charitable organizations.
My daughters are active.
Yeah,
my daughters are active in this. My wife was very active also in social activities, but I was an industrial worker.
I think I read when you were younger, you used to help blind children. Is that right?
Yes. When I studied in the university in Jerusalem, I had to support myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I found a job in a school of blind in Jerusalem, and I was a science teacher in the school of blind. I was there about 2 years. Wow. And then I was on the board of they asked me many years later, they asked me to be on the board of the school. And that's more or less. Yeah, that's more or less what I did.
But that's interesting, because then you worked with glaucoma. You helped figure out.
Not only glaucoma. I am telling you, I developed close to 40 eye drops. If you go to an ophthalmologist in Israel on his treatment tray, he has at least 3 or 4 of our products. Every ophthalmologist in Israel. So yes, we specialize in this.
And I learned it personally that dry eye is part of getting older, right? Dry eyes.
This is true. Many things are part of being older. But but the eye care is very important, because also for dry eyes, it's not, I clean my eyes every morning with this, and in the evenings also, night before I talk to you, I clean my eyes also, because I also have dry eyes.
Yeah, it's getting late there. It's almost 10 o'clock.
Dr. Fischer, so your father was a medical doctor, and did you say your grandfather also was a medical doctor?
Yes, my grandfather was in Czechoslovakia. He died before I was born. I'm named after him, but he was a medical doctor also, and not ophthalmologist, a family and a gynecologist. And my father was a general practitioner. He was in Israel already.
So my family,
great grandfather, Dr. Fischer's great grandfather was a businessman, right?
So
your great grand.
No, that's the other part of the family. The family of my grandmother owned a very big factory of porcelain. You say it in
China.
The biggest company biggest company in Czechoslovakia. I think they had also 1,000 workers before the war. Then the Germans took it away.
So that was in your genes also.
Yes, I think I had industry in my genes and medicine in my genes. My grandfather published a few scientific papers. So what I'm saying is I'm just following what they did. I didn't do nothing new.
So the reason I ask is my father is a medical doctor, my sister is a medical doctor, my uncle is a medical doctor. I'm the black sheep. Do you ever feel like the black sheep, like a failure?
No. How can he?
You could have it all.
He's funny. He's
Dr. Fischer, you could have
a medical doctor. A medical doctor takes care of patients. Let's say 20 patients a day, one after the other, every half an hour or so. we make 10,000 products, eye drops in one day. So we take care of thousands of people, not one.
But Dr. Fischer, you could have 2,000 employees. You only have 1,000 employees.
It's like, no, but you see what's happening, Dr. Fischer. What's happening, this generation is surrounded by people who on the internet became overnight, multi-billionaires.
Millionaire and billionaires.
And with one application or one gadget or whatever. And they think that it's so easy to run a business,
Maybe it's easy today. If you are very smart and you develop something and you do it. Yeah. But my granddaughters, one is now graduated already. She's a doctor now, starting first year, medical doctor. She wants to be a pediatrician. And another granddaughter, daughter of another daughter, she is on the second year in medicine now. So,
and her granddaughter, my niece, just became
the one who lives in Israel and
just graduated. She's a doctor in Tel Aviv.
She's doing internship in Bellinson.
Very good hospital.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rabin. They call it Rabin now.
Yeah, I call it the
Dr. Fischer, you have no interest in going to space like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk?
I'm scared. I saw what he did. I understand that people pay $250,000. I said, if they'll pay me $250,000, I will not do it.
Dr. Fischer, we're going to wind it up soon, but let me ask you a nice, simple, easy question. Do you think there will ever be Middle East peace?
Yes.
You do?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, really?
I believe so. Yes.
How?
How?
Yes.
There will be an agreement between Israel and the Palestinians, the Arab Palestinians. There will be. Nowadays also, we have a lot of, I think we are in every home in Israel, my product, but I think they are also in every home in the Palestinian area. We work with them many years. And I am in very good relations with someone, and many people work, and the politicians are problematic. We have to change them. The politicians in Israel and there.
Well, but you're in a position of influence. Do you ever speak to these politicians and give them your thought?
I'm not involved in politics, but I told you we have the Art for Peace collection. And I thought, and we ran it all around the world. We paid everything, no government involvement or public involvement, no donations from other people, no contributions. We did it all ourselves. And I thought that as individuals, my wife and I, that's what we could do for peace. And by the way, if there will be peace, it's not only something theoretical. For business, it will be excellent for our company even. Because, now we do export to the United States, to California, to Europe, containers, ships, and so on. If there will be peace, we just put everything on a truck and we send it. And after a few hours, it is in Jordan or in any other place.
Yeah.
And we work also a little with selling a little in Arab countries, Saudi Arabia and so. But mainly on the west bank of the Jordan and in Gaza, we are selling, and we have and they know it's from Israel, and no problem at all. On the contrary.
May I say something?
It's your show. You can say something.
Okay. No, I wanted to tell you that this book you wrote about Lani, about the young woman
from the rice fields to the Holy Land.
Wait a second.
From the rice fields to the Holy Land.
To the Holy Land.
Yeah, to the Holy Land. I personally find it wonderful that with all your achievements and with all your other involvements, that you can look at the person of humble origin who came as a stranger in the land, there is an expression like that in Hebrew, stranger in the land, and that you took the time to look at and notice this person and write this beautiful book about her. So I just want to commend you for that.
Thank you. By the way, I translated it to Hebrew. At first, I didn't want to translate it to Hebrew, but some friends said, I don't know, they cannot read English very well, I guess. So I have it only in Hebrew. And one of the purposes of this is to show the people the human side of those, I don't want to say slaves, but those who work hard, and we don't look at them, really. We look down at them. And I wanted the people to know that they have families, many of them, those who take care of invalids in Israel, some of the friends of Lani, I know them. Some are university graduates, and they're cleaning houses, and they're doing everything that we don't want to do. And people look at them down like this. So, and they are,
yes. They don't get They don't get the social recognition for the unbelievable service that they do, because they are really caring. Because now that my husband is in a wheelchair, I can see how important it is for help, that I get help. I leave him with somebody when I come here. You need somebody who really cares and who is doing it with the heart. And if I dare to generalize, I don't like to generalize, but the Filipinas, there is even a Hebrew expression, Filipina. They really, as over and over and over, I heard how much they care, how good they are, how trustworthy they are. But now they will have like a public representative, a symbol of somebody who will be in a book. You know,
you will see in the book that I described also about Lani. I wrote about Lani, how she was treated in some places where she worked very badly, not very badly, badly.
Yeah, badly.
And how unhappy she was. And sometimes she said she was sorry that she came to Israel even. But later it was okay, and now, of course, it's different.
So Dr. Fischer, to the book.
Let me leave you with this. In 1973, when we were living in Ramat Aviv, my claim to fame is I was one day playing in front of our building, and Shimon Peres lived next door, but Golda Meir came to visit her child, son?
No. Golda Meir came to visit Dayan's daughter, lived in the penthouse. Dayan's daughter.
Golda Meir came to visit Moshe Dayan's daughter. And on the way in, she stopped.
Yael.
Yes. Yael. On the way in, she stopped and patted me on the head. But now I wish it was Dr. Fischer that patted me on the head. So when we come to Israel, I'll have you pat me on the head.
Come to see me. I hope I can come back to. I've been in Florida a few times, in the United States, of course. I've been a few times, and in addition to the years that I lived as a student, and I hope the corona, the COVID-19, right, will end one day. Because it's going now in Israel again.
Yeah, I know.
You know, the Delta, the Indian.
Gampo. Also here, yes.
It goes, and we'll see what we do. So I hope we can meet personally, either in Miami or in Tel Aviv.
Absolutely.
It was very, very.
B'shana haba b'Miami. But Dr. Fischer, thank you very much for your time. It was very generous.
Thank you. It was very
generous.
And
read his book, From the Rice Fields to the Holy Land, the Lani Samson story, From the Rice Fields to the Holy Land.
Right.
Okay.
And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing with us.
Thank you.
And Behatzlacha and Briut Tov.
We'll send you everything once it's edited. It's going to take a couple of weeks, and we'll send it to you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Bye. Good night. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Welcome back. It's time for the news schmooze.
What do you think of Dr. Fischer?
We went over this before.
Well, we talk privately. This is on the podcast.
Oh, I thought we were doing it on the podcast.
No, that was in between.
I literally am in love with him.
He's a sweetheart of a man. He has more money than anyone will ever need.
Don't you understand that money
He doesn't care. He swims. He goes to,
money is not his
You see these morons in Miami driving like Lamborghinis and all these.
I am looking at one in Miami.
And Dr. Fischer can buy and sell these guys 1,000 times over, 1,000,000 times over, and he just lives a simple life. And he's, you know what he said? Did you hear what he said?
Don't ever talk to me about simple
Did you hear what he said?
You got a dog, you could have gotten him out of a pound.
What are you talking about? A dog is family.
Okay, good. Then you should have made it. You should have gotten
Did you hear
pregnant.
You didn't hear what he said, but I caught it. He said in life, you need to dance like a boxer.
Exactly.
He says you have to move, flow like a butterfly. Yes, but that's why I love fighting. Everything about fighting relates to real life.
And
got to move in and move out.
He said you cannot just have your head in the clouds and dream.
No, he said you do as the CEO. You will see. He said as the CEO, you have to have your head in the clouds and dream, and the workers stay.
But it's not enough, he said.
On to the news schmooze.
Let's see who will be right.
In honor of Dr. Fischer, let's do this story first. Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett, who took over for Netanyahu, told the head of Ben & Jerry's parent company, Unilever, which makes soap as well, which scares me, he told Unilever that the ice cream maker's move to halt sales in the occupied Palestinian territory could carry, quote unquote, severe consequences. The prime minister spoke with Alan Jope, CEO of Unilever, which owns Ben & Jerry's, and said with the utmost gravity that the decision by Ben & Jerry's to boycott Israel is unacceptable, and added that it has clearly taken an anti-Israel step, and the prime minister is pissed. Are you pissed, Carm?
Let's use very nice language. I didn't even know that prime ministers urinate.
Will you buy the Tonight Show cookie dough anymore?
The what? What show?
Tonight, will you be buying Cherry Garcia?
Oh, I didn't know the brands. First of all, I think that all ice cream should be banned from the universe. I tell you why. It causes obesity, cancer, diabetes, probably causes many other diseases. You
eat everything but ice cream, Mom.
Exactly. I don't like ice cream. We shouldn't talk about Ben & Jerry because it just promotes the brand.
But what do you think? They're two Jews who are basically being anti-Israel. What do you think of that?
I think
say the truth. Don't hold it in, Carm. You're about to say it.
The saddest thing in the world to me is self-hating Jews who don't have enough loyalty to stay away. And, they say, take all your ice cream and shove it up Bernie Sanders' ass.
And if you saw Ben & Jerry right now, would you say that to them?
What?
If you saw Ben & Jerry in here right now?
Joel, I have a record of saying what I think to the people's face. I am proud of that.
Okay, on to the next.
No, it's not. This bothers me. Let me tell you, you remember we interviewed once Lizzie Savetsky?
Yeah, her episode is out. Will be out momentarily.
Okay, so anyway, she's an interesting person, but she sent a picture of her eating Häagen-Dazs ice cream, and she says she's eating it, and she says, Ben and who?
Very nice.
Like, screw you.
Sticking with Israel, Jewish hatred, and anti-Semitism, on to our next story. An anti-vaccine protest that took place in
ridiculous. Don't even
Glasgow, Poland.
Don't even read those polls.
Blamed Jews as being responsible for the start of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic.
How?
They took part in a protest Monday and chanted, "Jews are behind the pandemic. They rule the world. They rule the world."
Oh, well, listen.
Do you think that
you didn't know that?
You think Poland has been rehabilitated since Auschwitz days?
Yes, they improved the facilities.
On to the next story. The New Shepard spacecraft carrying Jeff Bezos and 3 other passengers successfully completed its mission earlier this week to date our show. It was a brief journey, but an exciting one, drawing 600,000 viewers to the live stream on YouTube. But there was one thing that pretty much everyone was talking about on social media, and they said it reminded them about a very specific scene from Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, in which there is a spaceship that looks exactly like a penis. Did you look at the New Shepard spacecraft? Did you look at it, Carmela?
everything. Those light towers look like penis. Chimneys
this has
look like
what
penis.
appear to be testicles.
Freud explained everything as
this appeared to have testicles and shall I say, a shaft and what would appear to be a penis head shape in this. Do you think that Bezos specifically designed this to look that way?
No, it's phallic enough without designing.
But you don't think Bezos purposely did that?
No, but I have to say one thing. While you were reading this thing, and I was imagining the head of the Virgin Airlines, whatever, what's his name?
Branson,
and
Sir
I was
Richard
thinking
Branson.
of Bezos. I was thinking in a very pejorative, negative way. Boys will be boys.
Let me tell you something else.
The penis goes with it.
If you look at a picture of Bezos from when he started his company in like 99 to today, the guy is on more steroids and human growth hormone. He's like a little tank. Like, he's a vain little bastard. And you know what, Jeff? Come after me with your...
because you are a vain little bastard.
Come after me with your legal team. It's called the First Amendment. I can say whatever the hell I want. We'll be right back.
If you are Joe Rogan, otherwise no.
We'll be right back with 3 questions for Grandma.
It's time now for 3 questions for Grandma.
Okay. Back for 3 questions for Grandma as Carmela once again is giving me directorial and producer cues saying we have to wind it down. So something interesting happened this week, sort of a public question posed by my middle daughter, ZZ. You were playing with the kids at the park.
Right.
And you were sitting at the bottom of the slide and allegedly my youngest son and or middle daughter asked you to slide down the slide with them.
The youngest is 2 years old.
And you said you could not slide down there because, quote unquote, your derriere is too big. At which point my daughter asked, if your derriere is too big to slide down, why can you sit at the bottom of the slide?
I was sitting at the bottom of the slide.
How did you respond? Because that's a very astute point. It means that your fat derriere could have slid from the top to the bottom, but you just didn't want to. So how did you respond to her?
I tell you, I told her that was a very smart question.
Was that it?
She was right. I told her she was right. I was just looking for an excuse not to climb up to the top.
Next question. Who was the first person in the world and how did they get here?
Do you know there are different theories on this? One theory, you know what one theory is?
Yeah.
That we are all extraterrestrials.
Yeah.
But that's...
Do you believe in this Adam and Eve story?
I believe in evolution.
How did Adam get here, by the way? I don't know that.
God created
God
him.
just put him down there?
Yes.
And you don't really believe in that. So how was there the first human? This is an interesting, I don't know the answer.
Well, it came from evolution, from an amoeba to a frog to a higher level animal.
And eventually Adam popped out?
And it came out of the oceans, the water.
Very good, I'll tell her. Okay.
It's read up on evolution. You have to learn these things to be able to tell your children, don't be like your father.
On to the last question. There are many questions today, but on to the last question in honor of our new family member, Ethel Bug Johnson, who's a now 10-week-old European boxer. Z-Bugs also wants to know, do mom dogs breastfeed their babies?
Yes. Yes.
And they feel bad that Ethel is no longer breastfeeding. Do you feel bad? Because I found out. Well, here's the thing. At 3 weeks old, the breeder told me the mother will no longer breastfeed the puppy because at 3 weeks they have teeth and it kills. And I can attest to that because Ethel Bug Johnson bites my toes in the morning and it kills.
I have to tell you, I learned something new, which is very rare.
Yes. What did you learn, Carm?
That they only breastfeed for 3 weeks.
That's it. 3 weeks. Ethel's with us. What do you think, Ethel?
I think Ethel is really a really cute dog. Cute dog.
One of the big problems with Ethel is everyone here, it's English seems to be their second language, and in Spanish, it sounds like Ethel, like asshole. So everyone thinks our dog's name is Asshole, but it's really Ethel Bug Johnson. Ethel.
Okay.
See you next week. Love you, America. Carm, any final parting thoughts?
Yes, this segment needs to be edited. Usually we don't, but this needs to be. Bye, America.
Love you, America.